News from the Borderland. This is EPAS Unleashed. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, EPAS Unleashed. I'm your host, Jessica Navarro. Welcome to episode 6. We have a very special guest, Renee Rojas. Can you tell us a little bit about your job title, Renee?
Sure. So my job title is Community and Pet Support Supervisor. I've been working with Animal Services for 11 years now.
Oh, wow. That's quite a while.
Yeah.
Quite a while. So you have a lot of experience.
Yeah,
And
I've been through a lot of different positions, so I got to see Animal Services from different points, and it's been a lot of fun. I love it here.
That's great. We're lucky to have you. You do so much great work here. Can you tell us a little bit about the Community and Pet Support Program, what it's all about?
Sure. So Community and Pet Support, or we call it CAPS, we started in 2020, and really what it was a program to start resources that we can provide to the public. We want to make sure that we keep pets in their homes, and that also incorporates those that sometimes when pets go missing, that we want to make sure that they get back home to their owners. So we provide resources to the owners that may have lost their pets or to people that may have found pets in the community.
Yeah, we're going to definitely dive into, lost pets, found pets, and what the community can do, because really the shelter is the last place that we want a pet to end up. We definitely, like you said, want our pets to stay in a home where they belong, with their family. So we're going to kind of touch on what the community can do and what you guys help out with. So can you tell us about found pets? That's a really big one that we see, the community finding pets and not knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm. So anytime that you come across a pet and you're able to pick it up and care for it for a short time, we would recommend that you first get that pet scanned for a microchip. And luckily, all of our El Paso fire stations and firemen and people will have a scanner available. And so you can get that pet scanned there. There are some pet stores that do have scanners that you can go, like PetSmart, Petco, and also any veterinarian office in your local area would be able to scan the pet for free. We actually even have a freestanding microchip scanner in a park on the east side.
Yeah, and that's a really great resource. It's a pilot program that we're trying out, but I think it's doing pretty well. The community can go out to that park and they don't have to deal with anybody if they don't want to talk to anyone. Yeah. Maybe they're introverts, they don't want to deal with that. They can definitely scan the pet there on their own. It has step-by-step procedures on what they can do, to try and reunite this lost pet with their owners. They can even take their own pet there to scan for a chip to see if they, in case they don't know. And May is actually National Chip Your Pet Day, so that's definitely an important thing and a resource that we encourage the public to do for their pets, and of course to be knowledgeable on microchips and how they work. So like you said, they can go to any fire station. All the fire stations in El Paso have a chip. After they do that, what can they do?
Okay, so when you scan a pet, it comes up with a kind of long microchip number, and so we would need you guys to write that number down and provide it to us. The microchip number is a serial number. It's identification marker for your pet. It doesn't tell you exactly who the owner is or where they live. It's not a GPS tracker. So this serial number is kind of like the way I put it, a VIN number on a car.
Yeah.
It's just to identify. And so usually if you give it to El Paso Animal Services through our found report on our website, or if you call the microchip companies that they're registered with, they will provide the owner's information. That way you can help reunite that pet with the owner. And the same thing, you as a pet owner, you can make sure that your pet's microchip registration is always up to date with your most current information.
And then you mentioned a found report on our website. Can you kind of go into a little bit of detail on how that works?
Sure. So, of course, our website is always available to you 24/7. You would just go to our website, elpasoanimalservices.org, under the pet resources, the found pet resources. And there you can fill out a pet report. It's a found pet report. It'll include the finder's information, the description of the pet, and it has a place for the microchip number. Or if the pet is wearing a rabies tag, you can also enter that as well. Our staff here in CAPS will go ahead and review the information, contact the finder, and hopefully help you reunite that pet with its owner.
And we also have a pet finder map. Can you go into detail about how that works as well?
Sure. So the pet finder map is actually a really, really easy, amazing tool to use. It's an integrated map. It's updated hourly. And what it is the Pet Finder map. You go again to our website. You can either look for if you found a pet, you would go to the lost pets that have already been reported to us, and it'll designate the certain area that you found the pet, and you can see if the owner has already posted that they lost their pet, and vice versa. If you if you did lose your pet, you can go to the found pet section
Mhm.
and see if your pet has already been found by someone else.
Okay, so it's a really great tool that people can use, and they can check daily and see if there's any updates, as well as you all will, like you said, reach out and review that loss report. Is there anything else that you can recommend for somebody that finds a lost pet?
Usually walking around the neighborhood, asking people if they've ever seen this pet in the neighborhood before, usually leads to whether or not it's been fairly new or been around the area for a while. They may know the neighbor that it belongs to. And should you need any resources, you could always reach out to us, whether it's like for supplies. We actually do give some preventative vaccines as well, so that way you feel more comfortable with housing the pet in your home with your other pets. Um, but really, it's just reaching out to CAPS to see if there's anything that we can provide. Speaking with the public, there's other apps like the Nextdoor app that you can use. Social media, of course, is great. Anytime you have a found pet, you can always put it out there on lost and found groups in social media or on your personal platform, just to make sure that the word is out there. Digital is the way to go.
Yeah. A lot of people, that's what they use now. Social media is a big thing. So there's so many lost and found groups that are throughout social media that the community can use for to try and get this pet back to their home. But I think that the main thing is walking around the neighborhood, because a lot of pets go missing and they stick to where they know, where they are their family is. So walking around, maybe even posting flyers. We have a flyer template on our
Oh, yeah. If necessary,
website.
we can go ahead and help you out with creating a flyer. Once our found report is created with us, it's an easy template. We can print out a few copies for you and hand them out if that's what you prefer. Because again, there are that generation that can lose pets as well. And so we want to make sure we reach out to everybody on all different levels.
Yeah, especially the older generation. Maybe they don't have social media, or like you said, they don't know how it works. So even posting flyers, just doing everything possible to try and get this pet back into their home. And it's really great that you all provide resources such as vaccines, because there is a disease present in El Paso. So it's always safe to reach out and see if that's something that you all can have the community come down and get that pet vaccinated. And does that cost them anything?
Oh, no. It's something that we would cover. There's no problem. All the supplies, again, if we have it and you need it, we're going to provide it.
Okay, perfect. And we spoke a little bit about microchips and how they work. It's basically an internal tag. Collars and tags are really important, but the microchip, that's something that really helps a pet find their way home. Can we speak about just how important having a microchip is?
So, besides it being required and as a city ordinance, it's just such a helpful tool. It is a lifelong thing that just 1 second of just a little shot, an injection,
Mhm.
that will last the lifetime of the pet. The microchip warranties are great. There's usually a lot of different chip manufacturers that will actually register for free,
Yeah.
so cost shouldn't be an issue. We do have microchipping events throughout the months and weeks that you can look on our calendar to see when we would have those. Should you need to come to here at the shelter, we can definitely schedule you an appointment time to come and get your chip um, implanted for your pet for free.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a really easy tool that again is for the lifetime of the pet. There really shouldn't be any reason why we wouldn't want to protect our pets and make sure that we can get them back.
Yeah, exactly. And you said that the community can reach out to your team and schedule an appointment. They don't, maybe someday on the events that we're having, it doesn't work with their work schedule, or
Right.
whatever. They can reach out to you and they can get that free microchip done.
Yeah, they can reach out to our pet helpline
Hmm.
email, or they can go to the website. And again, if we do have a loss report and it turns out that we have a great unification story, then we'll go ahead and offer that free microchip as well.
Okay, awesome. And how it's important to have the microchip, but it's also important to keep it updated. That's a
Right.
big issue that we see, is that maybe they got the microchip done and after that they didn't keep up with it. So how would they go about updating their microchip?
Updating the microchip, you can actually go to 24 Pet Watch and register your pet's chip number with there with your current address, phone number. And it really is a great idea to put a secondary contact, whether it's a family member or a neighbor or someone that you really do trust, just to make sure that if they happen to keep their number and you might have changed your phone number, we can still reach out to somebody that would still know how to contact you. I know it seems like, oh, I'll never miss my pet again, but things do happen, you know. It's an extra security to make that secondary contact.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as many ways to reach you, that to put that on the microchip, it's gonna be an extra, like you said, protection for your pet. Putting your email, putting that primary phone number, that secondary number, as much information as you can put, and just making sure that you keep it updated is a big thing. We had a recent story. A dog went missing. The community member was able to scan for a microchip, got that chip number, but unfortunately, the primary phone number wasn't in service, but that secondary was, and they were able to reunite. It was only, I think, a couple blocks away from home, so it's really important to make sure you have that primary and secondary. A lot of people, oh no, my dog is an inside dog, but you never know, right?
Yeah, accidents happen all the time. It's usually that maintenance or the pool guy that did it.
Yeah, or the kiddo, not knowing,
Right.
opening the door, and dog runs out, sees, something that the front, and they want to just run out. So you never know. You never know. It's always great to have that microchip, and like you said, we have so many free events. Why not just do it for your pet?
Exactly.
It's a city ordinance, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is it's going to help find your pet
Yeah.
their way back home to you faster. And for a lost pet, I know, kind of speaking on that, of course, we have the microchipping, but what other tips would you give to the community if they lost their pet?
Losing your pet is a hard thing, and it's usually I would say the first thing is to go around walking the neighborhood that you live in because pets don't travel very far. It's usually a few blocks from where you live. Calling out the pet's name would help. Knocking on doors, seeing and showing them a picture, saying, "Have you seen my pet around?" or "When was the last time? Anybody might have taken it in." Um, when you do have your pet, if it doesn't have a microchip, or even if the same time some people who find pets don't know about microchipping, using collars and tags is a great way to make sure that it's easy and accessible to anybody who may come across your lost pet. Will easily call you with a cell phone number.
Yeah.
You don't always have to put your full address or full name on it. A phone number would suffice.
Mhm.
But again, you could always use our pet finder map. You could file that lost report with us, posting flyers for your missing pet. It's really just using those resources to see, but pets usually don't stray too far from the home.
Yeah, and even just coming here, taking a look around, seeing, if maybe we picked up your pet, especially if they don't have a microchip, that's a big thing. If they don't have a microchip, there's really no way for us to know who the owner
Correct.
is. Maybe that collar and tag wasn't on, or maybe it fell off, or even, there's some people that maybe want to keep the pet after finding. They don't see a collar or a tag on there, or maybe they just think the pet, is missing. They don't assume that or they think that the pet was abandoned, or whatever.
Right.
So just making sure that you have that microchip, making sure that you have the collar and the tag is just really important in general, just to get your pet back to your
Yeah.
home. And then, of course, we also have community members that maybe they can no longer care for their pet. What resources do you provide for somebody that might be rehoming their pet?
Okay. So there are instances that come up in everyone's life, and so when people are considering to rehome their pet, we actually do have a platform called Home to Home. It's completely free for the public to use. You would just make a profile for your pet where you post cute pictures and
Mhm.
you write a description of the pet's characteristics to see if anybody else in the community would be willing to take your pet home with them.
Mhm.
They would send you messages through email, and you guys can meet up wherever you like. You can discuss. It's not allowed to exchange money.
Mhm.
It's in the meant for person-to-person contact
Mhm.
so that you can find a suitable placement for your pet should you not be able to care for it anymore.
Mhm.
So home to home is available through our website under pet resources. It's been successful. We've been using it for probably close to 2 years,
Mhm.
and we've had a lot of success stories. There's really great pets on there, and the benefit also with adopting from home to home is that all of the pets that are adopted from there will come spayed and neutered through Animal Services grant funding.
Mhm.
And so, as long as we have that grant funds, we'll be able to spay, neuter, vaccinate, and microchip the pets just as if you were to adopt from the shelter, too. But the benefit also is that you can speak to the owners and you can get those questions answered that you might have that we might not have here at the shelter, about the history of the pet.
Yes, because I mean, the family knows the pet the best.
Exactly.
They're going to know how they do it in a home. If we find a pet lost on the street, that's something that we don't know until, of course, we are interacting with the community and getting to know all that information. We can add it to their profile. Of course, like I said, if we find a pet on the street, that's not something that we know until we maybe have a foster that
Right.
would be willing to take that pet in, and then we can have that information provided for a potential adopter. So it is a really great program. Do you have any success stories that you can think of that you would like to share?
Um, Not off the top of my head. I know we've had a few pit bulls, and that's a little bit hard to find placement for them just because they're a
Yes.
particular breed.
Yeah.
Some people may have misconceptions about them, but they're out there. You basically tell them what cuddle bugs and couch potatoes they
Yeah.
are. And so there was one recently, a beautiful blue girl. She got adopted probably within a week, and
Mhm.
she's very happy in her new home.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, they're gonna be microchipped. They're gonna have their vaccines, and spay and neutering
Mhm.
is gonna be provided if we have the grant fund for that. Um, we will definitely. That's definitely something that will benefit the community
Absolutely, yeah.
because spaying and neutering is a huge deal here. With the overpopulation problem that we have throughout the nation, it's definitely going to help out going through that program and not bringing just here to the shelter, keeping the pet out of the shelter if they're able to. Because it's just loud here. It's stressful for the dogs. We never know how a dog might take it. Some dogs take it harder
Right.
than others. So if they're willing and they're able to, keep the pet in their home until they find a new home for them, it's going to benefit not only the pet, but it's also going to help us, find space for animals that we're finding lost on the street as well.
Correct. Yeah, it's a really big help for us. But I just can't express enough how great it is for that pet to never actually have to come to the shelter and experience how stressful it is.
Mhm.
It's from one couch to another, really.
Yeah.
And so we should maybe rebrand it as couch to couch.
That would be great.
But it's just, I mean, I can't express again. It's just a great tool. It's easy to use. It doesn't take more than 15 minutes from sign up to completion of
Mhm.
posting that for your pet just to see if you can find another home for it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's a great program. I really love that we started using this program because, like you said, couch to couch. That's a great little slogan for it. But I never want a pet to be here. It's hard on them, and if you really have the time and have I know it's hard rehoming a pet already.
Hmm.
So definitely leaving a pet here it's gonna be hard too, seeing your pet here. So why not, if you can, keep them in your home for as long as possible, and then just find them a new family that they can be happy in. Because here it's a really stressful environment for the doggies, and some of them don't take it as well as others.
Agreed.
Yes. So kind of speaking on that, we also have our pet pantry where we provide resources for the community that maybe they want to keep their pet, but they just are struggling. Can you speak about that?
Yeah, so we have a pet pantry service. We offer monthly um, food donations to the people who need it. Really, the only requirement that we ask is that if you do come in and you're asking for pets for your or food for your pets,
Mhm.
that you would have them all microchipped and have those chips registered with us.
Okay.
So if you already have the chip, great. We'll just need that number so we can go ahead and enter in our system. Again, we just want to make sure, should anything happen and the pet go missing, we can return it to you. If you don't have the microchip, we can offer it for free. Okay, so there's no real excuse. If you need help, come and ask.
Hmm.
We can definitely help and provide for you. We do the pet pantry. It's kind of based off donations and what we do have for grant funding as well.
Hmm.
So we try to offer what we have available on a month to month basis to however many pets you have, depending on their size. If you need a specialty food or a special like canned food versus dry, or if you need a special diet of fish only,
Hmm.
most of those pitties need that fish oil to keep it
Yeah.
so pretty on their coat.
Yeah.
But you just let us know. If we have it, we'll definitely provide it to you. You can go to our website and schedule an appointment. We do it right now Monday through Friday. But again, if you need a special date because of your schedule, not a problem. Just give us a call or shoot us an email on that pet helpline email, and we'll go ahead and accommodate you the best that we can.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, just having your pet's microchip updated with us that way in case they ever go missing, registered with us. It's a good deal for, if you're struggling, you need that food for your pet, or you also provide other resources by donation. I know sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people donate like cat trees or maybe even like hamster cages, stuff like that. I
Yeah,
mean, all
we
pets,
get
right?
really great donations. Sometimes they're a little random, but somebody's
Yeah.
always asking for things. So if you need dog shampoo, treats, pee pads, sometimes we get them. Whether it's a new collar and leash that you want to spruce up your pet, we're all for
Mhm.
it. So we, just come on by, ask us if there's anything you need. By chance, even kitty litter or a new cat bed, pet
Mhm.
bed, we can definitely help you out there.
Yeah, so and like you said, it's all by donation. So definitely, if the community is willing to provide your team some resources, we will take anything. Like you said, from pet beds to hamster cages. Like I said, we'll take anything because there's always somebody out there that is maybe less fortunate and they're struggling and they need help. And we're willing to try and do our best to help them out because like we've been mentioning, the best place for a pet is in a home.
Yeah.
This is really the last place that we want any pet to end up. We want them to stay in a home. We want them to be happy. Of course, we want our community, if they're willing to keep their pet, but maybe they're just struggling. We'll try anything to really keep their pet in their home.
For sure.
Yes. And we also, you guys are dealing a lot with, going back to found pets. You're dealing a lot with kidnapping right now.
Oh, yes. So it's just the end of springtime and we're coming into summer. So we want to make sure that the public does know that if you do see kittens out there and they appear healthy, they're not in immediate danger, just to leave them where they are. Mom usually is close by, but may not be visible to you immediately. So we want to give her that opportunity to come back and care for her kittens. So just to make sure to leave them where they are. Again, if they're in immediate danger, maybe you can move them off to the side in the shade so that, again, mom can find them. Mom will hear them cry, and it is normal for them to cry. So the crying just signifies mom does need to come back because it's feeding time.
Yeah.
But should you see any sick ones or ones that are injured, then you can definitely bring them in.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's when they would deal with your team, and you would be able to hopefully, if they're willing to foster, find her to foster. Can you speak a little bit about that?
So yeah, finder to foster is a great thing. People do find pets all the time, and we do ask the finders if they're willing to hold on to the pet um, under animal services with a contract. And again, we'll provide all the supplies for free that you would need to care for the pet, and it just helps us keep those pets out of the shelter still. While they're in a home, and we can either find placement for them at a later time when they're ready for adoption, old enough, or sometimes the finders have a change of heart and they realize I really do want this pet and I want to
Yeah.
keep it, which is great too. We can do the adoption. There wouldn't be a problem. But fostering the pet does help us. And again, it's just communicating what you would be able to do for how long. And it just helps the pet mostly in the end. And we just want to make sure that everyone stays in a home, whether it's through foster temporarily or in the end that we find an adopter for that pet.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they're willing to keep the pet for 2 weeks, something like that, that's going to definitely give us some time to find space or find maybe another foster that is willing to take on, the animal. So it is really a great program too that we will provide all the resources for free. That's including the vaccines, litter if we have it, the cat food and all that.
Hmm.
So and maybe they're fostering for the first time. You guys will explain, how the care works, right?
Yeah, so we have guides and we'll teach you if it's a bottle baby. We can definitely teach you how to bottle feed, how to clean up after them, and any signs to look for of distress. We do have emergency on call. So it's not really that we're leaving you hanging. We're just going to make sure that you have all the resources, the
Mhm.
information that you would need to how to care for these little guys, and we'll guide you through the process. Even when it comes to returning them, we'll set up a time and make sure that we're ready for them, that we have a kennel all set up.
Mhm.
But it's also we ask the community if they do find placement for them, then that's even better.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that the pet doesn't really have to come back if at all possible. So they help facilitate us quite often. The public is really good. They know a lot of people out there
Mhm.
that are looking for that special new addition to their family.
Yeah, yeah. It just, promoting the animal, on their own is a great tool that
Hmm.
they can use to find a new foster, find even an adopter, like you said. They just have to come to us and, transfer that over. That way, when the time comes, if they do want to finalize the adoption, whenever the animal is old enough, or, over their treatment, if, they're sick, or injured, then they just have to come to us, and that way we can finish that spay and neuter and all that good stuff.
Right.
Mhm. And the finder to fosters, maybe this is their first time fostering, their first time having an animal. So I think that's a really great little like intro on how to care for animals. Providing everything, and then they can of course always refer back to our episode 3 podcast of neonate kittens, learning how to care for them, and looking for signs of everything that they need to do. So it's a really great thing that you guys are doing. Is there anything else that you want to add about your program?
Well, CAPS is really just still a growing program. We always come across new things or issues that have been there that we might need to figure out how we can help the public and provide new resources. If the community has any information of how they, as a business or an individual or group organization, that they can like provide to members of the community that we can help facilitate as well, and do it as a partnership, that would be a great thing. um, we are really trying to see how we can minimize the amount of animals that are coming into our shelter,
Mhm.
or when they do get processed with us, how we can make sure that they stay out or get them out in a faster way. So it's really, whenever you are out there in the community, I think just making sure that the pets that you have at home are microchipped, spayed and neutered. And should you ever decide to add another family member, to maybe look to home or to our shelter for adoptable pets.
Yeah, and the home to home, like you said, and all of the pets that we have here, um, people are trying their best, to get the pets out of the shelter, or just keeping them out of the shelter. So using that tool and using us to adopt is something that is going to benefit everyone in the long run, all the animals in the long run. And like you said, spaying and neutering, vaccinating your pet, microchipping, which is the whole important part of this episode is National Chip Your Pet Day, or month, sorry. We really want to make sure that the community is microchipping their pet so that they can find their way home. So many animals come into us that don't have a microchip. And like you said, there's really no excuse with all of the free events that we have, the resources your team provides. If people maybe can't make it out to the events, or even going to the vet, or their own personal vet to get that done. Just making sure that your pet is going to find their way back home if they're ever missing. All of these pets in our facility, of course, they had a family before, and we're not really sure, what happened there. But we, like you said, want to keep the pets out of the shelter as much as possible, and in a home where they belong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and your team does a really great, job.
Thank
It's a
you.
really hard job. I
Yes,
know. I
we
see you
stay
guys.
busy.
Yeah, you guys are running back and forth 24/7, you know,
Uh-huh.
really, throughout the day we see, you know, running back and forth. And I know that it can be really hard on you all to see so many animals that are coming in um, without, you know, any vaccines, because, you know, they're showing symptoms of illness or no microchips, and maybe they're 8 years old and you're like, how did
Oh.
you not microchip your doggy? You
Yeah,
know,
it's
it's
always that
hard.
one time, and it's a common story that we call the owner from, maybe it was wearing a tag, or they saw their posting on our pet finder map that their pet was missing. They're like, I swear I had the appointment this week to get it microchipped, and we're like,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, if only.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's now is the time. Really, if you don't have your pet already microchipped, go ahead and make an appointment or look at our events. The
Hmm.
events are really quick and easy if they're in your neighborhood. You just go during the time that they're scheduled and they're set up, and you're probably in and out in about, microchipping takes about 2 minutes. But you filling out the paperwork is
That's
going to
the
be
longest
the
part, is
longest
filling
part.
out the
But the
paperwork.
dog
Yeah.
is usually microchipped by the time or before you're even finished filling out the form. But it's super, super easy. We're all really trained, so it's pretty painless. It's usually the boy dogs and boy cats that scream the most, but it's just because they're big babies, us tough girls. But it's super easy, and there's really no excuse. If you can't take it yourself, you know, you can probably have a family member go and put your information in for you, or um, just speak to your vet on that next visit, the annual visit. You can go ahead and talk to them. Hey, is my pet microchipped already? If not, can we get that done?
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, I mean, 4th of July is coming up. You know, that's
Yes.
a big thing, where we see a lot of lost pets because of the fireworks. So getting that microchip done beforehand, you know, thinking ahead. Even sometimes, you know, community members start using those fireworks even before the 4th of
Yeah.
July, or maybe even after. So making sure that your pet has that microchip before July is really important. So, like you said, looking at our at events, and looking, you know, with your private vet, if you're able to do that as well. So you used to be a animal protection officer at some point in your career,
Yeah, that's
yeah?
how I started at Animal Services. I did
Oh,
it
really?
for about 4.5 years.
Okay, and can you speak about how different it is now, since you were an officer, and, you know, the mentality of microchipping, and just all the resources that we're now providing to the community, and how much it has changed?
Sure. So, microchipping has been required for a while, but a lot of people didn't realize that it was required back in the day. We did pick up a lot of dogs, um, and we had really no way of reuniting them with their owners. Social media wasn't super big back then, so people weren't really posting. There wasn't really anywhere for us to go other than when the animal was finally at the shelter, it had a a photo. Our photos have improved since then. A lot more people have their pets microchipped. A lot of the officers do post on those lost and found groups on social media, and they
Yeah.
can actually find the owners before having to bring the pet to the shelter.
Mhm.
So it's been a really big change. There's been a lot of efforts on both the community's end and the officers' end of making sure that we avoid bringing those pets to the shelter unnecessarily. We do everything that we can to make sure that they do end up going back home or with the responsible party.
Yeah, and that's why we have, of course, the resource rovers that provide those free events, those free microchips that we spoke on, so that the community can come out and get that microchip done, and make it easier for them if they find a lost pet, not having to bring them here and reuniting outside of the shelter. So that's really great to see that it's
Yeah.
changed so much. I'm sure it was hard without social media, because I know social media does really help. A lot of
It
I
does.
do see a lot of officers posting the pets that they find that maybe don't have a microchip, maybe don't have a collar tag, or, you know, they walked around the neighborhood and they couldn't find their family. So that's a great tool that our officers use that you didn't have back then.
Yeah.
So, and of course, of our resource rovers with those free events, you know, changing the way that the community takes care of their pets, and making sure that they educate the community that microchips are required, but not only that, that they're so important for finding their pets their way back home.
Absolutely. Yeah. The chips are do wonders and they just last forever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, whoever made them, I'm not sure who made them, but it was a really great. I mean, it's not a GPS tracker like a lot of people think, but it's still a really beneficial way for your pet to find their way home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd like to add?
No, pretty much chip that pet.
Yeah, that's the main thing is making sure your pet can find their way back home with that chip, because it's a really great tool that we use here. That has helped so many pets find their way back home. I think there was a recent study that we saw that about 70% of pets that are found and they have a chip, they make their way back home. So that's a pretty good
Oh yeah.
statistic for your pet finding their way back home. So yes, definitely chip your pet, get that done. And we thank you so much for
Oh,
taking
thank you for
time out
having
of
me.
your busy schedule. I know, you said you guys are constantly busy. So thank you so much for taking the time, and for all your hard work for the past 11 years.
Yeah.
We appreciate having you, and I learned a lot from you when I first started. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
Oh,
Okay.
thanks. No, it's been fun.
Yes. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.